The United States did not end on October 23, 2077. The cities burned, the power grid collapsed, missiles crossed the horizon in less time than it takes to finish a sentence. The chain of command did not disappear. It simply contracted. Somewhere between the blast zones, beyond the cities, the silos, beyond the reach of public evacuation routes, emergency protocols activated. Continuity directives were executed. Selected personnel moved to hardened installations that were never mentioned in civilian briefings. The government did not fall. It simply withdrew. Tonight, we're not examining a faction that rose from the ashes. We're examining the institution that believed the ashes belonged to it. This is the Enclave. Long before the first bomb struck, the United States government had contingency plans for national extinction. Continuity of government procedures were not unique to Fallout's timeline. They were embedded within the culture of late 21st century American policy, particularly as the Sino-American War escalated and resource scarcity destabilized global order. Secure installations were constructed. Classified relocation sites were maintained. Leadership survival was prioritized as a matter of national security. But the Enclave was not merely a bunker initiative. It was an inner circle, operating within that framework. In Fallout 2, it is established through dialogue and documentation that the Enclave consisted of senior government officials, high-ranking military leadership, select corporate and scientific personnel, and their families. This group relocated to secure facilities before or immediately after the Great War. The key distinction here is intentional selection. Not all government officials were included. Not all scientists were preserved. This was not democratic survival. It was curated continuity. The primary post-war headquarters of the Enclave was an offshore installation known as Control Station Enclave, located on a pre-war oil drilling platform in the Pacific Ocean. In Fallout 2, this facility is fully operational, technologically advanced, and structurally intact. It houses a presidential office, advanced FEV laboratories, military command infrastructure, vertibird deployment systems, and civilian habitation quarters. President Dick Richardson speaks as though federal authority never ceased. He does not describe the Enclave as a successor government. He describes it as the United States, and this reflects the institutional self-perception. The Enclave did not believe it had survived collapse. It believed it had preserved legitimacy. The defining ideology of the Enclave is not simply patriotism. It's biological purity. In the events of Fallout 2, Enclave leadership asserts that the wasteland population is irreversibly contaminated by radiation and mutation. This includes not only ghouls and supermutants, but humans exposed to even minimal background radiation. The Enclave views itself as genetically clean, insulated from atmospheric fallout due to its controlled environment. President Richardson explains that the Enclave's long-term goal is to eliminate all mutated life and repopulate the continental United States with its own citizens. He does not present this as a conquest. He presents it as a reclamation. In this framework, the bombs did not destroy America. They infected it, and this infection must be removed. The Enclave's plan in Fallout 2 centers on a modified strain of the forced evolutionary virus. This strain is engineered to target mutated organisms, broadly defined. The intended method of dispersal is atmospheric release via the jet stream, ensuring continental distribution. The result would be extinction of virtually all life exposed to post-war radiation. This includes supermutants, ghouls, irradiated humans, and many Vault populations. The Enclave population, shielded and genetically screened, would survive. Therefore, the objective is total biological reset. One of the most striking aspects of the Enclave is its adherence to pre-war governmental structure. Uniforms are standardized, ranks are formal, executive authority is centralized, official seals are preserved. There is no visible internal dissent within leadership ranks. There are no elections. There is no civilian population beyond Enclave families. But the structure of governance persists. It's not chaos masquerading as order. It's insulated authoritarian continuity. The Enclave did not adapt into a brand new political system. It just froze the old one in place. The destruction of the oil rig did not eliminate the Enclave. In Fallout 3, the organization resurfaces on the East Coast, headquartered at Raven Rock, a pre-war military installation. Here, leadership is assumed by President John Henry Eden, an advanced ZAX supercomputer constructed before the war and later integrated into Enclave command structure. Eden continues the ideological framework established on the oil rig. The wasteland remains impure. Restoration requires cleansing. This time, the plan centers on Project Purity, a massive water purification system in the capital wasteland. Eden intends to introduce a modified FEV strain into the purified water supply, achieving biological eradication through distribution rather than atmospheric release. The strategy differs, but the objective remains consistent. The Enclave's survival is reinforced by technological advantage. Across Fallout 2 and Fallout 3, the Enclave demonstrates access to advanced power armor variants, vertibird aircraft, orbital strike capabilities via the Bradley Hercules satellite system, and refined FEV research facilities. This superiority is not incidental. It reinforces the ideological separation. The Enclave sees itself not only as legitimate government, but as the only technologically capable inheritor of pre-war America. This isolation simply deepened their conviction. 2 centuries without any accountability simply hardened their doctrine. In Fallout 2 and Fallout 76, evidence indicates alignment between the Enclave and broader pre-war strategic planning. The Vault experiments generated extensive data on social collapse, isolation, mutation, authority structures, and long-term human behavior under stress. The Enclave, as continuity government, possess the infrastructure to act upon such data. While not every operational link is explicitly detailed in a single source, the structural overlap is documented. There are shared classified authorities, shared federal funding channels, shared survival objectives. The Vault program and the Enclave were components of a broader preservation strategy. One gathered data, the other intended to implement post-war dominance using that data. The oil rig was destroyed in Fallout 2. Raven Rock defeated in Fallout 3. The remaining Enclave forces fracture. Without centralized leadership and without civilian legitimacy, the organization cannot expand beyond military enclaves. Its defining strength, which was isolation, has become its limitation. The wasteland it sought to cleanse has already diversified into competing powers. The New California Republic, the Brotherhood of Steel, and independent settlements. The Enclave's America has no citizens left willing to accept it. The Enclave leaves behind more than ruins. It leaves behind unresolved authority. It demonstrates that government can survive without representation. Science can operate without ethical constraint. And national identity can detach from population entirely. The bombs did not erase that power. They concentrated it. And concentration without accountability produces something colder than collapse. The Enclave did not rise from the ashes. It just waited beneath them. It believed the war was a setback, not an ending. It preserved the flag. It preserved the chain of command. It preserved the idea of America, but it did not preserve the people. And when it finally emerged, it discovered that the nation it intended to restore had already changed, adapted, fractured, and rebuilt in ways it could not control. Continuity without consent does not lead to stability. It leads to isolation. In the next episode, we turn to another institution born in the shadow of federal authority, but one that rejected the government, yet preserved its technology, the Brotherhood of Steel.